Hi, welcome to Sustain Talks. Today, I'm joined by Bhavna Raithatha. Bhavna is a psychotherapist, coach, and clinical supervisor. She's a mental health and wellbeing expert, providing either one-to-one support or offers training for corporates. I came across Bhavna. You may recognize her from my previous podcasts and webinars when I ran the Why Mental Health Matters webinar. And since then, we've become firm friends. I'm delighted to have the conversation. I vowed after the tragic loss of my own friend to suicide that I would continue the conversation about mental health. And having this one-on-one chat with you, Bhavna, I think is going to be so great for my listeners. And thank you for joining me. It's good to see you. How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Sam, thank you so much for inviting me. It's truly an honor. And I was looking forward to speaking with you one-to-one after our various chats that we've had before. Because, you know, for both of us, mental health is a very important, essential issue. And, you know, we've seen that services are just not there. You know, I've had experiences in my past with close friends and family members who haven't had the therapy. You know, you've shared with me in the past, and I hope you will again.
Yeah.
You know, your experiences. So it's very, very important. And, you know, as we go into Pride Month from today, I want to cast a very keen eye on the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. You know, we've got the horror of the government's turnaround, you know, with the tail between their legs about conversion therapy. You know, it's okay for everybody except for, you know, the trans community, who are some of the most vilified of our community. You know, just because they find the courage to be themselves after a lifetime of pretending to be somebody they are not, to please society and family and community.
Yeah.
You know, at a great cost, mental health wise. You know, and the fact that communities, forgive me, you know, communities and governments around the world are banning conversion therapy, and yet our own Prime Minister and his cabinet are dithering about and making excuses for this horrific, you know, it's not a therapy, it's barbarism. You know, to force somebody under the guise of therapy, which I find incredibly offensive, to change who they are, to change who they feel, because it doesn't suit society.
I think, like, you know, we've just come out of the COVID pandemic. We're seriously going into, I believe, into a mental health pandemic. There isn't the support for people. I'm happy to speak about this publicly, but I recently reached out to my doctor to see if I could get some therapy, and it wasn't there. I tried all different sort of solutions, and they just didn't have anything to offer me. They said, we can send you to a webinar. I do my own webinars. This is not enough. I just don't think that the government is ready to handle and manage the mental health pandemic that we're going into. Everybody is suffering.
Absolutely. You know, we've experienced a once in our lifetime global event as a species, where we've been locked down without warning. And we've not known how long that's going to last. You know, we've not been able to see our loved ones. And during that time, people have lost their loved ones. I lost my dad. Okay. You know, I come back from seeing him. 1 week later, I got a text from my brother saying he's gone, because I was on a call to a client, so I couldn't answer the phone. You know, so all of that has mounted up, and people are struggling because, you know, businesses have had to change. I've had so many clients who are, you know, just shell-shocked with the amount of changes expected of them within their business. You know, so they went into lockdown with one role, came back, and they're now having to be an octopus. you know, and in so many different roles that many people in their, you know, later years aren't interested in doing, you know, to learn something new, to learn a new policy or procedure or way of doing. You know, it's an extra added stressor.
Yeah, and I think that, like the flexible working, there are benefits and not, you know, it's you have the flexibility, especially if you're a single parent, or you know, you don't have the support to be able to manage your children or take them to school, or if you have an elderly parent, something like that you have to care, or you have to care for somebody else. You know, that flexibility with work is better, but it also is very isolating. So you know, that I think that flexible working mix of both is where improvements can be made, rather than just one or the other. What are your views of working from home? I mean, you work from home.
Oh, God, for me personally, I love it. I you know, to consider going into an office is you know, just no. Unless I'm there as a guest training or, you know, providing consultancy, then joyful. But, you know, looking back to my years in my office in London, you know, just I felt like a goldfish in a glass building. And whilst it was incredibly prestigious, it was very distressing, because I'm very much, I prefer to work on my own because it allows me to just go at my own speed and do my own thing. And, you know, my ultimate goal in life is to serve my clients, you know, and to have a thriving practice. And I love what I do. So for me, it's absolutely fine. You know, I'm platinum standard hermit. Okay. But it's not for everyone. You know, we're in a society where everybody's very much in need of that social contact, because that's normal for a human being. You know, I'm the outlier.
Yeah.
So working from home, yes, it has its benefits, but like you said, the isolation element is very much there. So organizations can offer a balance and negotiate with their staff, but we also have to take, you know, keep in mind that the organization is there for a reason. It has to earn its money.
Yeah, of course.
It has to run, you know, as fluidly as possible. So the main element of any organization is its human people.
And I think that companies at the moment are really trying to find a way, you know, that there's a massive issue with attrition rates and the great resignation, and you know, companies are fighting to do more for their people, but it comes down to valuing them. What, in your opinion, I mean, you've worked with lots of corporates before, you were you know, worked in a corporate before. What do you think the key things that companies could be doing to do more for their people, be more empathetic?
Yeah, Sam, the first most obvious thing is to see your employees, see them as individuals, see them as people who, you know, are precious, are important, are bringing value to your company. You know, count yourself blessed that they've chosen to work for you and with you. Okay, there's this arrogance, you know, there's such a big debate with the human resource personnel and applicants of not communicating, not giving feedback. Okay, if you're behaving like that at the application process, how are you going to treat your employees when they actually start working with you?
Yeah.
Right. We all want to be seen. We all want open communication. Okay. If I'm ideal for your company, wonderful, let's do it. If I'm not, please tell me.
Yeah, it's so bad though.
Exactly. It's dehumanizing,
isn't it?
You know, especially for young people, you know, who haven't had the experience we've had of working for various organizations and, you know, learning trial by fire. You know, when you've got a 19, 20, 21-year-old going through the application process and, you know, fighting with or competing even with so many others for that one job. okay, and they are not given feedback as to why the application was rejected, or, you know, waiting with bated breath and not hearing anything ever.
It's so rejection without explanation, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah, it's the worst form.
Yeah, and if you have an individual, and you know, we've got an increasing issue with self-confidence, with, you know, self-esteem.
Yeah.
If you're already there, glass half empty, and then you're rejected, that's just going to reinforce I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Whereas if you write a letter or an email, you know, saying, really sorry, huge amount of applicants, the competition was fierce, but you were great, you know, thank you for applying, and if other posts come up, please apply. It doesn't take a lot, and that's a generic email.
I know.
But it
don't you think that, don't you think that technology has moved so far that it's become so impersonal that we're asking technology to recognize applicants because there's thousands of applicants by using keywords in their CV, but they may have gone and spent loads of time applying for that application, and then you're not even responding to that. Where is that personal, you know, as you say, humanization? I remember when I was applying for jobs when I was much younger, that you had to get feedback.
Yes.
You know, and that was just in an application. You had to have a conversation. It's got so cold.
It has. You know, you've just reminded me of an example. I've got a very, very dear friend who has, she's a veteran foster carer, okay, 16 years service under her belt, okay. She's had to take a break to take care of her mother, who sadly passed away, and she's come back to foster care. It's 11 months this month where she's still struggling to find a job, okay, and her old employers are refusing to give her a reference because of GDPR. So without a reference to prove that she's got 16 years under her belt, she can't move forward. And now the temporary employer she's working for is refusing to give her a reference, so that she can't leave that.
Outrageous.
It is. I've got a few extra grey hairs from the anger I feel for her. You know, to see somebody that you care about, who is a professional, being treated as a third-class citizen.
Do you think that because of all these regulations and systems and technology, do you think, you know, I know obviously COVID pandemic has had a massive issue with mental health, but do you think that it's all of those regulations and systems, or do you think it's things like social media and expectations of how we're supposed to be and live our life? And, you know, it's just so different to when I was growing up, when I was in my 20s.
Yeah. It's the perfect storm. Something's going to tip the scale completely over the edge, because, you know, people are fed up of being pressed under the, you know, and being treated badly. That's why we've got this great resignation happening. Okay, people have some I've been doing this for 25 years. Okay, I've worked as an employee assistance therapist for decades, right? The majority of my clients were employees of organizations, all right? And some of the practices left me feeling so frustrated. And so many times I would contact the account managers of the EAPs I worked with and say, guys, you need to give this organization feedback. This is very, very dangerous. Okay, they are causing a very dangerous maelstrom happening. Okay. And they wouldn't pass the feedback on because they didn't want to lose the contract, right? So gosh, the middlemen are there to make money. They don't give a monkeys about anything else. Okay, so they'll sell whatever package to the company. All right, and get the client seen that way. But so there's a big problem, and it needs to be sorted.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see, with social value, when you think about how ESG has risen recently and social value has become more important, that companies are looking to how they can be more diverse and inclusive in their businesses, because they realize that they have to show that. I know, ESG relates to the financial world, but actually even companies starting to think about those terms, being sustainable, being more socially responsible. Those kind of things are starting to come in, and obviously because of the Great Resignation, now people are like fighting for, well, how do we attract more employees? And these kind of things are going to help, right? If they put these systems in place. But what do you think those systems that they can put in place? I guess it starts with what you said before, with the way that you even interview people, right? Right from the beginning.
It starts from the ground up. Okay, if the foundation is rotten, whatever you build on it is not going to last.
No.
Okay, and let's stop paying lip service and jumping on the latest bandwagon, DEI, this and that, and that, right? Don't jump on the bandwagon and say, oh yes, we've done this 2-hour training and we've now got the badge and we are an inclusive organization. Yeah, let's talk to your staff at all levels, randomly selected, and have an interview with them and see what their felt sense is of working for your organization. Yeah, are they happy? Genuinely, are they happy to come to work? All right, yes or no? Yes, why? What especially makes you happy about working here? No, why? What's going on? Is it an organizational thing? Is it something at home that's going on? Okay, and are you being supported with that? Is your manager, for example, recognizing that you may be living in a domestic violence situation that you can't at the moment get out of, right? So you're coming to work, maybe you're injured. Are they asking you what's going on? What, how can we support you? What can we do? Right? Or are they turning a blind eye and having a little chinwag in the corner about who's shagging who and whatever? I've seen this happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen this happen with my own eyes, and it infuriates me. Okay, open your eyes, get out of your cliques, right, with your mates that you've employed, all right, and see all of your staff. Get to know them individually if you can. It doesn't take a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
Even in different levels, they can do that. It might not be the CEO of the company getting to know everyone, but at least your direct reports, and really get to know them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with CEOs, get out of your ivory towers.
Yeah.
Go to the shop floor every so often and show your face. Go and say hi. Take a packet of sweets.
Yeah.
Right. Show humanity.
Yeah.
These are the people paying your wages.
Yeah. I love that that program. Is it called The Undercover CEO?
Yes.
Where they actually get to know their people really closely. And I think that's a really good example of, when you really get to know what your employees are going through and understanding the pressures and the pains. Yes. And it's like our government, they're so far from where we are. It's not a political broadcast, but I think it's really about understanding what your people are going through. And
but, forgive me for interrupting.
No, that's fine.
All I will say is, how can they? you know, these are privately educated, very entitled human beings that come from a different strata to the rest of us. How can they possibly understand our lived experience? Yeah, it's impossible. We need people, you know, community citizens, real citizens governing us, not the elite.
Yeah,
because there's a disconnect. They don't even understand our language, right? So, and they're not making any effort to you know, bridge the gap.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
how are they governing? You know, and the whole Partygate scenario says it all.
Oh gosh,
The rest of
doesn't it?
us, you know, I personally missed out on time with my dad, who was dying because of lockdown. Okay, the final few months of his life, he was in lockdown at Addenbrooke's. I was here. My family was in. I mean, you know, and I am not alone. Hundreds of thousands of people experience this, because I was counseling many of them through losses and through cancer, while going through the same with my dad.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, I do feel strongly. I do feel incredibly strongly. And, you know, I've seen the rise of DEI champions and this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, lovely. But, you know, that person, what experience have you got? You may have done the training. Hurrah. What experience, you know, how would you deal with me? Simple as that. How would you deal with me?
So do you think that you know, because I've seen a lot of companies, they're putting together sustainability champions and DEI champions and mental health champions, and you know, companies where they're saying, oh, if you get 5 free therapy sessions a year with, you know, it again, it's not enough, is it?
It's not. The thing is, look, for me as a therapist who's done the 5, okay, I've worked with 3-session models, 4-session models, 5-session models, 6-session models, right? 17,500 clients worth. Okay. The thing is, the 4-session models and 5-session models, certain issues can be dealt with. I have done some miraculous work with, you know, highly motivated clients in 4 and 5 sessions, life-changing. Okay, they came with me with broken wings, and, you know, they've taken flight and made massive changes. And, you know, I still get texts from them, guess what I'm doing? You know, so it is possible, because something is better than nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, when you're starving, a sandwich is better than a 5-course meal.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's something to sustain you. Okay. What I resent, what I find difficult, is when employers are doing the bare minimum to tick a box, you know, send them off to therapy. And the thing is, some have used therapy, referrals to therapy, as punishment because somebody's not performing or haven't hit their targets. There must be something wrong with you, go and sort it out, because you must hit your targets. Okay, we've forgotten that we're dealing with beautiful, precious human beings who bring so much creativity and magic, but we need to know how to nurture that. Okay, I love what I do, and I've only ever come across one human being who nurtured my talent. Okay, and that was a director of mine when I was a plebe student that had just, you know, finished my master's. And she is the one who gave me the opportunity to step into the world of counseling. Okay, I thought I was going for an interview, and she just handed me a project, set this up, this is your budget, I want monthly updates. Otherwise, you know, don't bother me. And I was like, oh God, you know, and hooray, because it allowed me to completely, you know, break every boundary
Yeah.
rather than be constrained and micromanaged.
Yeah.
Okay. And that program was running from 1998 until 2012, which is
I think
pretty
that, you know, when
amazing.
you think back about your bosses over the years, when you
Yeah.
say that, it immediately makes me think of the good and the bad relationships that I've had, and
Yeah.
the bad way outweighs the good. You know, and I know myself as a manager over the years, I learned lessons and improved and became more empathetic. And I think probably now I'm more empathetic than I've ever been. But I think that empathy is really important for managers, to be empathetic and to understand their staff, like you say. What about for individuals? Because I know a lot of my listeners, my connections on LinkedIn, they're always talking about, you know, their mental health, they're keeping it to themselves. What are your recommendations for people that are really struggling at the moment?
Okay, number one, don't keep it to yourself, tell somebody. Okay, so absolutely essential. Look, it's not ideal, all right, but help is available, all right. We've got the beautiful people at Samaritans, right? 116 123, right? They're available 24/7, all right. And the thing is, if that help is available, then nobody should feel that they're alone. All right. My dream would be for anybody that needs therapy to be able to pick up the phone, make an appointment, and go and see somebody. Okay. Or Zoom with somebody. I mean, you know, I work with clients around the world, which I love, and it's joyful. You know, it's collecting air miles from my office. It's fantastic. All right. But it just also means that I'm available for people. At very short notice. I can offer appointments within 48 hours. Okay, and most of my clients pre-book to the end of the year. You know, at the moment I'm sort of juggling where to fit everybody in, but that's an honor for me that people trust me to be able to do that.
Yeah.
There are some incredible therapists out there in private practice. Okay. You know, go on counseling directory, stick your postcode in, have a look.
Sorry, can you say that again? That was counseling
directory.
Okay.
And you know, there are many avenues where you can find therapists. Yeah. Unfortunately, the problem is that many may not be able to afford weekly therapy, but that's okay. You can do fortnightly.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not about that hour of seeing your person. All right. It's what you do in between sessions. All right. The hour is checking in. The hour is, you know, saying how you feel, saying what's been happening, getting the support. And with me, I give my people tools. So, you know, they walk away loaded with homework to sustain them and to keep the therapy going until we meet again.
Yeah.
That's why it works so quickly, because they're not going away and then, you know, sitting on their laurels waiting for our next session. Okay, they'll be doing this and that and that and that, and, you know, experimenting with what works and what doesn't work, and then we review. So I do a hybrid coaching therapy.
Yeah.
Okay, where we're looking at all of the psychological issues, but we're also in the here and now, doing the magic. Okay, so you're learning the tools and you're putting them into action and you're trying them out, but we're also looking at where it's wired to the past and to relationships with families and, you know, parents and all of that. Okay, not everybody does that, I know. You know, I'm very, very rare in that approach. Okay, but it's something that works for me.
Do you think with every person, from your experience, you know, as you say, you've got 25 years experience, so you've seen a lot of people. Do you think that everybody's lives and the way they are and their makeup is from what happened in their past?
That's a tough, oh God. Right, let me explain it this way. Okay, all of us are working from an operating system. Okay, so imagine your laptop is running Windows or Apple, whatever. I'm not an Apple person, so forgive me, Apple people. Okay. But we all have an operating system, and the operating system is programmed by our primary caregivers, mum, dad, carers. Okay. And they program it according to their lived experience. Okay, so it's going to be affected already. Okay, and then all of our relationships, all of the apps are going to be informed by that operating system, right? So if an app is malfunctioning or problematic, e.g., a relationship, you just can't seem to get it together, we need to go and look at your attachment styles, your relating styles. Okay, what happened? What message were you given? Yeah? And once we go into the HTML, the scripts, and we start correcting it and writing new scripts, the apps start working better.
Totally makes sense.
Right?
And that's the issue, that at the moment there's so much going on in the world. There's so many directions where you're being affected that I feel like we're just scrambling around to find that moment of happiness, of kindness, because everyone's just so busy and just trying to do too much, right?
Yeah, we are not built for this level of frenetic activity.
No.
We are hunter-gatherers. Okay, just twice removed. Okay, we should be sitting around the campfire of an evening, looking at the stars, catching up about our days, and adventure hunting or gathering, and which new berry we found, and making love and reconnecting with each other. Okay, and getting a good night's sleep, and then starting all over again. Just a very gentle lifestyle. Okay, that's what we're evolutionarily built for. What we're finding today is we're behaving like machines, available 24/7.
Yeah.
To our phones or tablets. Social media is making people more isolated than ever before. We're on our devices all day. But do we ever stop to think, have I had a meaningful conversation today?
Yeah.
Right? Have I had a meaningful interaction today? And the reason people get addicted to social media is because, that they want that hit of recognition through a like or a comment or, some feedback to tell us that we exist, that somebody sees us.
Yeah.
Right, rather than meeting up for a coffee and sitting down and forgetting the world and just totally looking into somebody's eyes and hearing their voice and having that communion together. Yeah, that's what matters. Okay, whether we're at home, at school, at work, in the shopping center, when you go shopping and you bump trolleys and you have a chin wag with some random stranger about mayonnaise. Okay, sometimes you come away feeling a little bit more, taller and more fulfilled because you've had that human exchange of energy. It's energy exchange.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and if we go back to organization, Sam, this, we're just dealing with an expanded family.
Yeah.
If you look at the structures, CEO is the godfather or godmother. Okay, then we've got the parents, then we've got the siblings, then we've got the cousins and whatever, and all the bickering and bullshit that goes on. Yeah, it is family systems.
Yeah.
Okay, and every so often, yes, the CEO, grandparent or great grandparent need to come down and crack the whip a little bit and get everybody to straighten up and behave. Yeah, but the managers, the parent figures, are there to make sure everybody's fed and nurtured and has their needs met, and every one of us has different needs. Okay, and I imagine as people listen to this that there'll be sort of, what is she talking about? She hasn't got a clue.
I think you make so much sense, and actually when you look at it like that, it makes even more sense. You know, we're 8 hours a day, most of us 8 hours a day with our colleagues and the people that we work with. I spend more time with my business partner than I do with my family.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
So I think those people that you work with, that's where that's going to come from. I think you make total sense. They are your extended family. And you know, I think it's about time that they started acting like family.
We had old family values 20, 30 years ago. You know, the family organizations, and you know, everybody was known, and you know, everybody's wedding anniversaries and birthdays and la-di-da-di-da. Okay, today people are just grey people. You know, they come in, clock in, do their work and go home, and if you know there's something wrong, you bollock them. That is not how to conduct a business. Okay, it's not all about profits and filling the pockets of your shareholders. We're dealing with human beings who are precious. You know, and I need to say this, please. You know, we're in Pride Month now. Okay, and one of the things, I'm so excited. I'm so excited, and I, you know, booked to go to London Pride to celebrate 50. Yeah, and one of the things is this sickening influx of, you know, companies getting, you know, pink and rainbowed up just for this month.
Like a tick box exercise, isn't it?
Absolutely, to take advantage of, you know, the LGBT community. Right, so you know, if we chuck a rainbow on, we're supportive of you. Where are you for the other 11 months of the year? Right, where are your policy, your inclusivity policies? What are you doing for the LGBTQ community? What are your policies for your trans employees? How are you supporting them from the vitriolic bullying? And picked on. How are you doing that?
I think a lot of companies, they find it really difficult to have the conversation. So rather than go and educate themselves on how to have that conversation, they attach themselves to things like LGBTQ month, because they, you know, they're like, oh, I can just follow these guidelines and post this. They don't actually think about it within their makeup of their everyday in their company. And I see a lot of companies talking about D&I, and we really want to be diverse. And then you say, okay, a simple question, what's your male female ratio? And they're like, we don't know. Okay, what about, you know, your like, what do you know about the people that work there? I don't know. It starts even about the pay gap, or you know, how do you put the salary of your jobs on your when you're advertising for jobs, so that you know that it's a fair pay, that everyone's getting the same. No, simple things that people can do to create equality, and they're not doing them.
No. And you just have to look on the LinkedIn jobs board. There's no salary there.
No salaries at all.
One company with a salary. You know, and it was like, okay, interesting. I you know, I wouldn't apply for that.
No, but because you can imagine the backlash from what people in the company would see if they saw that job advertised, and it was being advertised a salary that was more than they were getting paid, and they felt they were doing an equal job.
There you go. But that's about transparency. So we go back to the operating system. And we fix all the bugs. We first of all look within and clean out, clean up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And straighten up before we, oh God, you know, it's like a wedding, right? You've got the company advertising for a bride or groom. Okay. You need to sort the family out first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Straighten everything up before your new bride or groom comes in.
Yeah.
You know, and the honeymoon period is over in the first week and they realize, what have I done? How do I get divorced from these people? You know, oh my goodness.
That's funny because my cousin just married my best friend, but but I think they both knew what they were going into. Bhavna, I can talk to you for hours and hours and hours and hours, but I know with these things, you know, we're going to have to cut it off somewhere.
No problem.
I thank you so much for being you, for becoming a really good friend, for teaching me insight that I, you know, always get so much from you. I appreciate you, and I'll share your details so that people can connect with you, and hopefully book you for training or for working with the corporates or working with you personally as well. It's been really, really wonderful, and thanks for your time, and have a good day.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.